Now, I know a lot of you high-class people out there, a lot of you exceptional human beings like to poo-poo on the world's largest cruise line by calling it the Walmart of the seas, simultaneously throwing shade on people who cruise on Carnival and people who shop at Walmart. Well, maybe it's time to trade in that moniker, and instead of calling Carnival the Walmart of the seas, maybe it's time to call it the McDonald's of the seas. I know you guys like to have a whole, litany of insults to throw around, and, well, I'm going to give you a good reason that McDonald's of the seas may apply. Also, Seabourn getting rid of one of its oldest cruise ships, and there's a fight a-brewing. There's a fight a-brewing on Paradise Island in the Bahamas between an ancient city and a big cruise line. It's St. Patrick's Day, y'all. Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Lido, Loca. I am your host, Tony, here to talk you through everything going on in cruising on the 17th of March, the day that we celebrate St. Patrick. The luck of the Irish are with us on today's show, and I'm wearing green so none yous can pinch me. Are you a St. Patrick's Day pincher? Shame on you. You can't do that anymore. This is 2023. You're not allowed to randomly pinch strangers. So you can only pinch your family, I guess. But happy St. Patrick's Day. That's what I'm trying to say. I do have a pile of cruise news for you. The big story being, is Carnival now the McDonald's of the sea? I think yes, and I'll tell you why, but I'll save it till the end. A little tease there for you. You got to suffer through dinner until you get to the good stuff. And by the good stuff, I mean the finale of season 1 of The Last of Us. Did anybody see that? That was great. Cruise news story number 1, Seabourn. The luxury cruise line Seabourn is jettisoning, getting rid of one of its oldest cruise ships, the 14-year-old Seabourn Odyssey. Seabourn Odyssey has been sold to Mitsui OSK Lines. They will take ownership immediately, but they're going to lease it. They're going to lease the Seabourn Odyssey back to Seabourn so it can complete its sailings. They're already scheduled to August of 2024. It's a strategic move for Seabourn. They're transitioning a little more from luxury cruising into expedition cruising, and getting rid of this cruise ship should free up some capital to invest more into their expedition endeavors. And Seabourn's a little bit like Leo DiCaprio. They like to keep their company young. The average age, I think, of Leo's girlfriend somewhere in the 20s. The average age of the cruise ships in the Seabourn fleet, around 7 years. So at 14 years, well, the Odyssey probably way past its prime when it comes to the way the Seabourn feels about cruise ships. So interesting. It's interesting to see these ships on the move. That whole thing about the 7-year rotation for Seabourn is interesting to me. Some cruise lines have ships that were built in the last century. They were built in the last millennia. They were built in the 1900s. Not Seabourn. It's too old for them. Have you ever sailed on Seabourn? Have you lived that luxury life? Have you expedited? Have you gone on an expedition cruise and seen penguins? Leave a comment below. Look, and I'm sure some of you are like, oh, St. Patrick's Day, Tony's it's too early. And of course, I don't need that much anyways. But, if that's you, have a good St. Patty's Day. Be safe. Get a designated driver. All of that stuff. Cruise news story number 2. Like I said, there's a fight a-brewing in Nassau, the Bahamas. Nassau used to be the pirates' capital. Such an interesting history in Nassau about the struggle between the British government and pirates down there. But this is a different kind of fight. Royal Caribbean has announced that they're going to develop the furthest point of Paradise Island. So if you've ever gone to Nassau on a cruise ship, there's a wonderful lighthouse that kind of welcomes you into that port. And then there's a stretch of land that runs all the way to the Atlantis resort. You can't miss Atlantis. It is a monolith of a structure there. Like I said, it's an ancient city. maybe a modern take on an ancient city, but Royal Caribbean has struck a deal with the Bahamian government to develop a resort, a beach resort right there on Paradise Island. And it seems like it's going to be pretty sexy. Royal Caribbean, they have a nice track record of developing things in the Bahamas. I'm looking directly at you, Perfect Day at Coco Cay or Perfect D at Coco Key, whatever you prefer. And so Royal's going to replicate that process, giving passengers who disembark in Nassau a beach place to go to that is branded by Royal Caribbean. Like I said, a deal has been struck between Royal Caribbean and the government, and everybody is happy about it, except the management over at Atlantis. And now all of a sudden, as these plans are starting to develop, the leadership at Atlantis is going, well, do you think that Royal Caribbean's going to mess up the reef at the end of like they've got environmental concerns. They said very plainly, we don't know for sure that Royal Caribbean's going to do anything wrong, but you never know. Can we trust these cruise companies? This is the rhetoric that is being laid out. Look, let's strip it all away. They're just worried about their business. We saw Royal Caribbean just jack up the price for the day pass to the Atlantis water park to over $300. Well, if you're looking at the Royal Cruise Planner and you can go to the Atlantis water park for $300 or the new beach club that Royal put there for $89.99, who knows what the price will be, but it'll probably be less than Atlantis. Which one are you going to pick? So, look, I can see Atlantis being concerned that their cash cow of cruise customers may be dissuaded from going to the overly priced Bahamian location and going maybe to the beach resort that the cruise line owns. Look, again, this thing's signed, sealed, delivered by the government. I think Royal is in the clear, but it will certainly be interesting to see how Atlantis continues to act in this process, and will other local Bahamian businesses rise up against the encroachment of the capitalistic, no, I don't know, are they going to rise up against this beach club? What do you think? What do you think? Are you looking forward to Royal's new venture there? The cool thing, the thing that I like, if you want to go to Coco Cay, you got to be on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship. But what I think is going to happen, and this is a brilliant play, they're going to build something that any cruiser can go to, right? So that's pretty interesting. Could you imagine rolling in on a Carnival or an MSC ship and then making your way over to Royal Caribbean's Beach Club? That's win on top of win. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. What do you think out there? Leave a comment below. Blah, blah. Beach club, I think we'll have. There you go. All right. I got to tell you about the new moniker for Carnival, the one that I'm giving them, the McDonald's of the seas. But before I do that, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. It's Friday. If you like staying up to date with everything that's going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. Someday I want to stand on the mountaintops and yell, over 300,000 subscribed. Because that's what companies and organizations do. They stand on mountaintops and they yell. The only way I can get there is with your assistance. So if you please consider subscribing with the notification bell on, I'll be grateful. But you also get all this, information. And it seems like a fair trade, I hope. Do that notification bell. Thank you in advance. All right, like I said, the snooty, Rudy, high-class people, really high-class. Look, this is what I learned a long time ago. This is what my great-great-grandfather said. This was written on a cave somewhere. If you have to tell people that you're cool, if you have to tell people that you're popular, and if you have to tell people that you're classy, maybe you're not any of those things. I'm just saying, look, we all have to examine our own hearts. But if all of a sudden you're on the committee where you're picking who's high class and who's low class and you got to get on a different committee. Just my opinion. But since people put it out there, I thought I would respond. You publicly comment, you get my public response. And I have anybody that's talking about other people's class, the respect just drops from me. So if you ever see me face to face and you don't want to see my face go to, don't talk to me about other people's class. That's what I'm saying. All right. Walmart of the Seas. I want to give Carnival another name, and I think a well-deserved name, because they've just done something that no other cruise line has done. Carnival Cruise Line, the most popular cruise line in the world, the first cruise line to ever service 100 million cruise passengers. They started back in 1972, one ship, the Carnival Mardi Gras, and now here we are, 2023, and they have the odometer of cruise passengers has now rolled over to 100 million passengers. That's mind-blowing. It's unbelievable. And of course, it's such a big win that Carnival had been looking out for which passengers would be their 100th millionth passenger. And well, we have two people that are the 100th millionth passenger, Deb and David Clifford from Ohio. When the Cliffords were going through the embarkation process for their most recent cruise, they were met by none other than the president of Carnival Cruise Line, Christine Duffy, and of course, a team of folks that took pictures and recorded the whole scenario. I don't know if they got anything special. I've read a couple articles. I don't know if like they got anything other than the fanfare, but they certainly were allowed to have as many guys burgers as they wanted. So is McDonald's of the Seas a fair nickname for Carnival Cruise Line? I think so for this reason. McDonald's has traditionally calculated how many hamburgers it sold. And look, McDonald's hit 100 million burgers, I think even before Carnival was a cruise company. But I think it shows a longevity that we're starting to see in the cruise business. Just like McDonald's has been a staple in American culture, we start to see cruising become more pervasive in the culture. Still only a small fragment of people who travel on cruise ships, so there's still a lot of opportunity. But yeah, I guess if you're going to call names, McDonald's of the Seas as good as any of the other ones. So congratulations, Carnival. All kidding aside, I think it is a great milestone. It does speak to how the popularity of cruising has risen over the years through the decades, and Carnival has been a leader in that space. I've said it before, many people got into cruising because of Carnival, and maybe some have gone on to turn their nose down at Carnival, but like them, don't like them, I feel like you should respect them because they have done a lot for cruising. They brought a lot of people into the space, and that's what keeps cruising viable, and that's what keeps even kind of the higher end cruise lines getting new passengers as people move up through different levels of cruising and experiencing different things. I'm fairly new to cruising. I only started in 2017, but in that time, I've gone on several cruises. I've cruised on 10 different cruise lines, and it really does hurt my heart when I see people giving other people a hard time for which cruise line that they choose. Maybe I'm just a little too idealistic, and maybe I'm worried about the people that are, really so hard on other people. I just don't think that's the way that the world goes forward in a positive way. And I feel like everybody's got some space in their heart to be decent. And anytime you start, taking the microscope out or taking out the thing to separate people, to classify people, to make yourself feel different than other people, I think you run the risk of being really on the wrong side of goodness. And so, yeah, I don't guess I should apologize for feeling that way, but certainly it rubs people the wrong way that I feel that way. And but yeah, it's like cruising's such a great thing, man. It just seems like we should be positive about the people that love the same thing that we do. And sadly, there's a small minority of people that it seems that they're not. They just want to feel superior to other people. And I don't know. I don't know. But look, happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope you enjoyed the show. Show your support by hitting the like button. And well, unfortunately, if you don't hit the like button, I'm going to come and pinch you for St. Patrick's Day. That's your punishment for today. This is Tony for Lido, Loca. And until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Have a great weekend.